Hey there, welcome back to Reddit Dating, the best channel for Reddit cheating stories. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification for more stories like these. Now, let's get into the video.
Revenge with her AP's wife. My wife had an affair with me. I cheated again on the AP's wife. I told my wife, and now I have to listen to her and our marriage counselor tell me I'm just as horrible as she is. It's total nonsense in my opinion. I would not have cheated if she had not first cheated. My goal was to avenge myself, if that's even possible. Backstory: about a year ago, I discovered that my wife was having an affair. On our shared computer, I discovered images and texts. When I questioned her, she lied, telling me that I was making it all up in my head. Then I showed her the photocopies. She then began slowly telling me the truth. I'd had enough and called the AP's wife. She was distraught, but she was my sole source of truth in this situation. For 3 months, the affair consisted of messages sent at all hours of the day and night. My wife disabled her phone's notifications. They also got together virtually every week. Even after all of that, she wanted to stay with me. We began marriage counseling. My primary incentive, I will admit, was financial. I had just sold my business and didn't want to walk away with half of the money that represented 15 years of my life. While all of this was going on, I was speaking with the AP's wife on a daily basis. She had evicted him from the house. My wife refused to leave or give me any space at all. My phone rang one night. She normally texted, and it was the AP wife. She was having a hard night and needed to speak with someone. That conversation led to some flirting back and forth, and then I told her I was going to stop by. She stated that she would appreciate it. So I went over there and drank the AP's beer in his living room with his wife. This went on for approximately a month. It came to an end when I told my wife after a heated dispute. Look, I know this is a horrible scenario, and I should probably pack my belongings and leave. I understand that this isn't a mature way to deal with an affair. But it wasn't until my disagreements with the AP's wife that I felt I could return to my marriage and work on it. I wasn't sad or unhappy any longer. So, am I mistaken in thinking that this is retaliation? Is it justifiable? P.S. The other couple, by the way, ended up staying together. Story 2. I discovered my 18-year-old wife cheating on me. We began dating in the fall of 1997 or the spring of 1998, but I've never been able to pinpoint when the two of us became an official we. We kissed in 1997, but we were quite loose for a while. We'd go on dates with one other, then with other people, then back together, and began spending more and more time together until there was definitely us by the summer. In the fall of '98, she obtained an apartment across the parking lot at the complex where I was staying, and because one of the clowns I was friends with at the time wouldn't move out, I effectively moved in with her that fall, clothes and bed at my apartment, slept every night in hers. We were pleased, and by the fall of 2001, I had proposed to her, and we were married in 2002. We had our first child in '07 and his brother in '11, and spent the first 3 years together having fun. I've been in a happy, devoted relationship for 21 years, nearly 17 of which I've been married. We understand that marriage is never ideal, it has its highs and lows. We are both musicians and have always linked marriage to a fine piece of music, with its forte, high, noisy, and piassamo, low, quiet, moments, lows, wrought with emotion. We've always expressed this sentiment to aspiring newlywed couples. Simply roll with it and accept it for what it is. You aren't living an authentic relationship if you don't experience lows/fights. We thought we had it all figured out, didn't we? We've recently experienced some stress since, after spending our entire lives in one region, we decided to take a leap of faith and relocate to another part of the country. This was followed by a layoff within the first 18 months, resulting in yet another relocation, even further away from home. We've now settled into our new home, only to discover that the company we relocated here for no longer has a place for us, necessitating yet another job change. This has been difficult for my hubby. Where everything went wrong. I'd been suspicious of something going on for a long now, and I'd started losing sleep over it. It all started in July of last year with an anecdotal narrative about a coworker on a work vacation in Vegas who had been sharing some extremely intimate company confidential information with my spouse. He should not have been telling, she said, but he was inebriated and possibly a little lippy. It sounded exactly like pillow banter. Based on the nature of the relationship, I pointed it out to her and was surprised when she mentioned him again, but I dismissed it as a friend relationship with nothing to worry about. Then, as October approached, there were more and more indications that something was wrong. A change in grooming habits, new lingerie, and other minor details. The most memorable was when she began to weep one night while we were having dinner. I couldn't figure out what was going on. She said that she was going through certain things, and that she could act funny for a while, but not to take it personally and to give her some space. All of this stacked up in my mind, and I repeatedly questioned her if there was something going on and if she was cheating on me. I decided I needed resolution and would take matters into my own hands by checking at her texts on her phone to discover evidence the night before Christmas. I hadn't planned on it that morning, yes, Christmas morning while breakfast was being cooked in the glow of torn wrapping paper tossed around the Christmas tree, but I ended up with her phone, helping to transfer son's old to new phone, and did a quick review, found the text I hoped wasn't there, and only words I remember seeing were, "I cannot take you being all over me 1 minute and ignoring me the next." I was instantly devastated. Destroyed. I couldn't stand, I couldn't breathe, and I couldn't speak. My son was in the room and asked, "Are you all right, Dad?" I staggered into the kitchen and informed her that I had discovered a message on her phone. To her credit, we went outside and talked it out. She claims to have given me the complete transparency and blow by blow. There are 3 total events. One was in his apartment in another state where he had gone, and she was visiting for work while her employer relocated. She went over to hot dogs for a restaurant concept. He approached her from behind, and she kissed him back. They went into his room and kissed. She alleges they came to a halt before any of them became naked, and there was no sexual encounter. One more was in the office in the other state 2 days later. The last time I saw them was on December 14th, 11 days before I found out about them. Later that week, she agreed to let me see the whole text chain that had been sent between them back and forth. They were able to connect in person, over email, and via a business instant messaging system. She and I are both aware that this is just half of the story. I'm not aware of any further communications that may have taken place. As I understand it, the idea that they had not been confirmed had been proven incorrect. She informed me that they had ended their romantic connection, but that they would continue to communicate via work and the commercial relationships that they needed. The original plan was for them to communicate through intermediaries, but this rapidly degraded, and they were back to using email and instant chat. I informed her that I need notification when they were finished. She needed to take drastic steps to end the connection in order for me to be able to sleep at night and figure out what I needed to do next. I couldn't think of anything more to say, and to no one's surprise, I was devastated. I was miserable and hopeless at the time. I wasn't angry with her, but I couldn't stop myself from wondering why. What was the underlying cause of this event? I've done nothing but love and be patient with her over the years. She even admits she is not the easiest to live with. While others had failed, we had a fantastic time together and understood when to give each other space. It was a success where others had failed. We returned from our vacation to the other coast to meet family for the holidays, and after a few weeks, we decided to go to couples counseling together. Surprisingly, she found this to be a time-consuming task. I compiled a list of potential therapists and told her of my preferences. She said that she preferred a female therapist and took her time selecting one. In our first session, it looked like we were working in lockstep to identify a path ahead, but we were really walking on a landmine. The procedure was discussed, and as we were talking about it, our therapist added, "This is what we will do if this is what you truly want." For some reason, this made my wife re-evaluate what she really wants in life. The reason why she decided to act on her emotions and sentiments for another guy despite the fact that she was married to me was something she needed to comprehend. Specifically, she sought a break from couples counseling, indicating that each of us needed to focus on themselves first, and that she was particularly concerned with the subject why. This was a painful experience for me. After all, how could she possibly be unaware of what she desires? When you combine this with the fact that, despite my repeated and explicit requests that she terminate her relationship with him, even though it was no longer physical and was legal, she continued to have a friendly/fraternal contact with him, the situation becomes even more dire. Then there come the extra blows, which absolutely ruin my condition of affairs. On Thursday, January 17th, I'm bringing my children to basketball practice and inviting her to accompany me. She declines, stating that she would be working late that night. She isn't there, so I drive by her job, hoping for a quick embrace and kiss. I am desperate for affection in this environment. Her office is dark, so I assume she isn't there. In response to my question, she says she had just departed for a forgotten waxing appointment when I approach her with the situation. A photo of a text message from him that reads, "Hide in the kitchen if I promise not to kiss you," is discovered on Friday, January 18th. She answers, "Count to 10, and I discover the text on Saturday, January 19th. My first strategy is to inform her that if she doesn't stop, I'll be out of here the following day. Upon our future meeting, she informs me that she took care of it. She didn't do anything, and I found out about it just a few days later. On Monday, 1/21, she sends a text message to him and a group of employees. I'm not sure what the text said, but I do know that she sent him a text message. She came home early from a work trip on Wednesday, January 23rd, which was uncommon for her given her schedule. I've been acquainted with her for quite some time. I can barely remember a few instances in which she got home early from work, let alone from a business trip, and I was surprised. The 24th of January is a Thursday. She joins her colleagues for a happy hour to pay tribute to a colleague who is departing the company. She speculates that he could have arrived ahead of time, and she later acknowledges that he did, but she chose to ignore him, and the two of them did not contact. Yeah, okay. Sarcasm. This was the night she decided to switch off the Find My iPhone app on her phone. In spite of location services being turned off, I never could tell where she was. A text message from my wife to two of her friends at the party was discovered later, in which she pleaded with them not to skip out, explaining that she, my wife, had booked this happy hour just because he was coming, and that they should attend as well. She didn't make up this story about his showing there by chance. She planned the event deliberately for him to come. These encounters have utterly ruined me on an emotional level. With the first infidelity, she not only brought me to my knees, but she then continued to stab me in the heart with a series of repeated traumas. Despite the fact that I have wept more than I thought humanly possible, and that I have even spoken with her my transient, and oh so fleeting, thoughts of suicide, I've talked to my therapist about this, and I'll be fine, she has continued to act in a selfish and insensitive manner. Despite the fact that I was aware of what was going on, I chose to behave in a passive-aggressive way. As a result of this realization, I worked hard to find a way to trust her and give her space as she sought clarity with a therapist. This crucial realization is important to my recovery from the trauma of my relationship with her. In order for me to be successful, I need her to be truly committed in the process, not merely there out of duty or comfort with the children or with me. She contacted me on Friday to tell me that she had chosen to end her relationship with me. On Friday, she approached him in the workplace and told him that they would no longer be able to interact with one another again. Then she told him that she had made a choice and that they were no longer in a relationship with one another. As proof, she produced a text message from him saying farewell, as well as the fact that they had each forbidden the other's phone from being used to send text messages. My first reaction should have been joyous that there is even the faintest glimmer of hope for a shared future, but I am skeptical. In spite of everything, she is still the ruler of her domain. What keeps her from acting inappropriately with him, or someone else, in the future? Is it possible for me to live with myself knowing that I let her to lie and disrespect me? How can I be certain that she isn't taking advantage of my affections?